From the Skyterra Wellness Retreat, this is the Inspired Intentions Podcast, where we help people build the skills and mindset to live a healthy life. Inspired Intentions listeners, we have something a little different for you today. We have a repeat episode from last year. Each spring, the forests around Skyterra light up. It's a really rare occurrence, and it's from the blue ghost fireflies. And to celebrate this short but stunning season, we're going to re-release this episode, which is dedicated to the blue ghosts, the magical insects, and the special place that they call home and that we call home. So if you're planning a visit to Skyterra in May, or maybe you've been considering planning a visit in May, this gives you a chance to kind of hear what they're all about, and you may even get a chance to see them in person if you come. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode and all the information there. If you have any questions, you can give us a shout, an email at inspiredintentions@skyterrawellness.com. Enjoy the episode.
Hello, Inspired Intentions listeners. Today's episode is about the Phausis reticulata, which is a word that I have never said before, ever. That is the scientific name of the blue ghost fireflies, which is what we're going to talk about today. And before you stop listening, let me just tell you that the one experience that I've had with blue ghost fireflies was the highlight of my entire year of 2021. It is something that's really special to this area of North Carolina. And who better to talk about blue ghost fireflies than Skyterra's expert on basically everything, Alan Broyhill.
Hi. I don't
Hi,
know
Alan.
about basically everything. That's a stretch.
I think it's true.
Maybe a scientist. They might be better at this than I am.
We should say we did try to get a scientist on the podcast.
We did.
And you know what? Alan probably knows almost as much, I would say, especially about blue ghosts. So I'm glad we have you.
Thanks. I'm happy to be here. Happy to talk about it. There's a lot of entomologists out there that are experts, but there are very few that are experts with blue ghosts, and they are hard to get a hold of.
Yeah, for sure. They are. And Alan, you actually introduced blue ghost fireflies to me. I had never heard of them before, of course. So what is a blue ghost firefly?
What is this crazy bug? So this is a firefly, a lightning bug for some people. I've heard them called both. There's a lot of species of fireflies and or lightning bugs, but the blue ghosts are special. In the eastern part and middle part of the United States, you can find a lot of fireflies, right? They blink.
Mm-hmm.
They fly all over the place. They fly high in fields. They're beautiful. You catch them with your kids or your nephews or when you're a kid and put them in a jar.
They look like summer.
Yeah, for sure,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's what I think of. We always had them in the front of our field, and they felt like summer.
We had them in our backyard.
And what, I guess it's been 10 years ago maybe, I saw my first blue ghost, and it was a completely different experience from that. These bugs are unique. So, number one, they are not all over the place like other types of fireflies. Like if have you ever caught them? You've held a firefly before?
Yep.
I think the common one is like usually has like a little orange head on it and black wings, right? And it's probably, I don't know, a few centimeters long, right? These blue ghosts are just different. They are much smaller. They get their unique name because of their color, and they are very different between the male and female species of that version of that firefly. So to kind of dive into the science behind it and the bug itself, they are a bug that only really lives in this like western North Carolina mountain region and maybe a couple other small pockets in the south. So they're very, very rare. Very rare. They're not found anywhere else in the world, which is pretty cool.
That is cool.
They're different than the synchronized fireflies that some people have seen. Those are also very rare. These are even more rare. and they can sometimes get confused
What's a synchronized firefly?
where they all blink at the same time.
Oh.
Yeah, but they'll fly super high. They'll be up in the trees. I
Okay.
believe the males and the females will blink, but they are very rare, found in the South. But these blue ghosts are different. So they're much smaller. They are like a centimeter. They're very, very small. If you have one land on you, if you're the lucky soul that gets one to land on you and they're on your shoulder or whatever, and you can kind of see them, they're itty bitty. So the males are the ones that would land on you because the males fly and they have a little set of wings and they fly around, and they only fly about eye level or below, kind of real low. And then there's the females. The females don't fly.
Yes.
Right. They look more like a larva stage of a bug. They don't fly at all. They have no wings. They look like a larva, but they still have that bioluminescence that they can produce. So they also kind of flash, but they stay on the ground in the leaf litter, which is pretty cool to see. So what kind of happens is that these males fly up and they're flying around kind of, chest, eye level or lower across the floor, and they light up, but they don't blink.
Yes.
They don't blink like the synchronized or the fireflies you had in your backyard. They actually light up and they stay lit. And so it's kind of like a streak of light.
And it's blue.
Yeah. It's like a weird neon blue white light that your eyes, it's hard for your eyes to gather that light in the dark spaces that they live in. And it just looks wild. It's really hard to explain. If anybody's ever seen the movie Avatar, you kind of feel like you're in the movie Avatar.
Oh, yeah.
And so they're lighting up, and then they're trying to light up and find the females on the floor. And the females will light up, and then they fly down and connect, right? And this only happens for about 3 weeks out of the year. So most of their life is spent underground or in the leaf litter, and they do their thing for the entire year. And then kind of towards where summer starts to break into, spring starts to go out of season, they start coming out.
Okay, and Alan, you are not originally from the Brevard, Asheville area. So
No.
when you first moved here, what was your first experience then? What was that like? Did you know about them before you moved here?
No, I had absolutely no idea about this crazy blue firefly before I moved here. You move to Brevard and you find out they have a lot of cool, unique things, rainforest, blue ghosts, stuff like that. And you're like, I got to experience this. So I just was lucky enough to have some friends that have some on their property. A very small pocket of them, but very, very dense. Like, something that's probably not much bigger than our strength training room, just the strength training room area. And there are just like hundreds of thousands of them in this little pocket every single year.
Wow.
And so they took me out to see them. They invited me and a friend of mine up, and we went and saw them there at their house. And that was my first experience, and I was just like blown away.
Yeah.
There were so many, and they were all flying around you. It did look like Avatar, but it also felt like the ground was moving because there were so many. And maybe we just hit like a prime day where they were all out, but it was pretty wild. And that was my first experience, and I kind of got addicted.
Yeah. And Alan, you gave me my one and only blue ghost firefly experience, and you have done the same thing for some other staff members. And when you first told me about it, first of all, I like a good 9 p.m. bedtime. So you were like, all right, this is after dark.
Forget that. Yeah.
And we're going to go see some bugs. I'm like, you know what? I don't think I need to do this.
Everybody questions it.
Yeah. And I know just hearing from some other coworkers too, they're like, is it worth it? And after I went, I was like, yes, it's completely, totally worth it. It's worth the late bedtime. But I wanted to share about that experience too, because the whole thing, everything that you had us do was just, I felt like really special and just such a great lead up. So we met you in a parking lot at, I think, 9 o'clock. maybe 9
Yeah.
p.m.
Yeah, that time of year it's close to 9.
Yeah. And then we got in your truck and we drove up a mountain, right? We were going up.
Yeah, we went to since my friend, I found a few other pockets of them. So areas where you can go see them that are available to the public, but they're kind of a secret of mine.
They are a secret.
They're very secretive. And we drove up to one of them.
Yeah. And we then got out of your car and walked in the dark in the woods, and you were bringing chairs.
Yep. Brought some chairs.
What is this? And it takes your eyes a while to adjust to the darkness and hiking in the woods in the dark.
Yep.
And I remember there was one other person there with a red flashlight.
Oh, God.
What's your opinion on the red flashlight?
You know my opinion on the red flashlight. Well, I mean, using a light to get in safely is fine. But, once you're there, these bugs, the light can really throw them off.
Yeah.
They only live in the darkest of places. I think I described it to you as like they live in a place where at their prime, you can't see your hand waving in front of your face. It's so dark.
Yes.
Usually like a northern facing kind of pocket or slope.
Okay.
And, we don't go off trail when we're experiencing these, if you remember that.
Yes.
Do you remember why?
Because we don't want to step on the females.
The females don't fly. So if people that walk in the leaf litter off trail can kill them,
Yeah.
right? And so that's one reason why it's very secretive and one reason why they're very protected. But you're sitting on a trail, so other people can just walk through, right?
Yep.
They can be there. But when they have the headlight or red light on, it throws everything off, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember that they just shut down?
Yes. Yes. So we hiked in the dark, got to the place where you wanted us to go. We set up our chairs, and then we just sat in the dark, and we just waited.
Mm-hmm.
We were quiet. We just waited. And I remember you were like, I hope they come out tonight.
Right.
I don't know if this is too early. Be careful. Like, keep your eyes on the ground. Don't move around a lot. We were just kind of still sitting in the woods in the dark. And then all of a sudden, we saw one. And you're like, oh, okay.
Exhale. Big, deep exhale. Oh, thank gosh.
And then we just kept seeing more and more. And we just sat and watched them.
Yeah.
And I don't think we said anything. I think it was beautiful. Just the color, the experience, even the height at which they were flying, we just felt surrounded.
It's really an immersive experience.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know that I told you this, but I have only ever had one other experience in my life where I was just so overcome by beauty that I wasn't able to speak for an extended amount of time. And that is when my husband and I went to Italy. The one time we went to Italy, we went and saw the statue of David, and we just stared at it for probably an hour and a half, just marveling at this beauty. And it is the exact same way that I felt when we were watching those blue ghosts. And it was just so special. And really, honestly, it was, 2021 was coming off the pandemic, of course, but of everything that happened in 2021, that was one of my most favorite experiences. It was just incredible and so special.
Yeah, you never told me you had that.
Yeah.
I know you appreciated it because you were, you've made it very clear how much you appreciated that experience, but you never described it like that.
Yeah.
It's accurate, though.
Yes. Yes.
It's so accurate.
Yeah. And just, again, they're bugs. So
Right. A lot of people hate bugs.
yeah,
I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the light and the bioluminescence that they put off it's special in its own way. And there's a lot of spiritual history behind them. Native Americans have some cultural history behind seeing things like that. And I think that us as humans, we feel that.
Yeah. Yeah. It almost felt, when we were sitting there immersed in that, it almost felt like time had stopped. Not necessarily, that specific day and like 9:30 to 10:30 or whatever it was just universally across the universe. It felt like connection, and
Yeah.
we just felt like everything had stopped. And like you said, just that connection to our world and to people who've come before us.
Yeah. And I think some of that has to do with the darkness around you too. Like,
Yeah.
you can't be on your phone. You
No.
can't, because the light will, when I said shut them down, I mean like they stop blinking for a little while.
Yeah.
It takes them like 10, 15 minutes to get oriented back. It's kind of like when somebody cuts the light on you in the dark, right? After
Yeah.
you've been to wake you up,
Yeah.
it'd be like the exact same thing. They're like, oh gosh, what was that? Right. But you just have this, like, it's almost like sensory deprivation in a way, and then heightened senses of what's around you. There's no sound.
No.
It's just the light of these moving creatures.
Yes.
It's so cool.
It really is.
Do you remember the first one? Do you remember seeing that first one?
Yes.
That's always a really cool experience for folks that I've been able to show these things to, my friends and family. They that first one. Do you describe that?
I think it was surprise.
Yeah.
At the color and just the way that the light looked.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like something big is coming. That's what it felt like.
A build up.
Yeah.
I often get that, like, people aren't sure they're seeing what they're seeing.
Oh, I could see that.
Like when you, like, I see it and point it out, but like you kind of have to, like, you're like turning your head and like looking, because they're in the leaf litter, they're in the low hanging bushes and ferns and stuff. And if you move your head a little bit, they can disappear because they're not like, it's not like a flashlight bright where they're like illuminating things around them.
Yes.
You're just like, am I seeing what I'm seeing? And you're just kind of tilting your head and then it goes away so quick.
Yes.
Even though it stays lit for a second. And then the second one pops up. And
Yes.
It's kind of...
Oh, I remember what was happening. So you told me that you cannot get good photos of the blue ghosts. And so when we saw the first one, I'm like, I'm going to prove him wrong. I think I was trying to take a photo.
Were you?
Yeah, I did not get a good photo.
Yeah, for listeners out there that are curious, you can go search blue ghost fireflies photos, and there's a bunch of really great photos out there. And I have a few great pictures that I've been able to take over the years, but they're really hard to photograph.
Yeah.
And you can't use video. The way you do it and the way people are doing it is they're using a professional camera. They're doing what's called a long exposure, and they're stacking images, because what you'll do is you'll take one photo that the lens is open for 30 seconds, whatever, a minute, however long it needs to be, depending on that night. And you might get like 2 of them, 3 of them in a photo, right?
Oh.
And then the camera closes off and you don't touch it. And you take another photo, same exact spot with a remote to where the camera doesn't shake at all. And you put those 2 pictures on top of each other.
Oh.
And then you get 20 of them. And then you do another one and you get a bunch. So these photos that you're seeing, the way that they look, it looks wild. And it captures what your eyes are actually seeing. It just takes so many photos to get that many in an actual picture.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It's so if you guys go search, and I suggest you do, to kind of see what we're talking about, that's what you're seeing. It's real. It looks like that.
So how can listeners have this experience?
Yeah, if anybody is a Inspired Intentions listener, future Skyterra guest, you got to be here at a certain time of year to be able to come see these things in the Brevard, Greater Brevard area. That end of May, early June time is the time.
Okay.
They really are only out for, in good numbers, like 3 weeks-ish.
Wow.
Sometimes less, maybe sometimes more. I've never experienced more. But it's really weather dependent. So typically, like the second to last week in May, there's definitely some, and it's very beautiful. And then by the end of that week, there's a bunch. The second last week in May, there's a ton. And then that first week in June, they're kind of like dipping off.
Okay.
So it kind of spikes, goes up and right back down. And you've got to be dedicated to going out in the dark to see them. Super weather dependent. Cold can throw them off because they come out when the ground temperature is a certain temp.
Okay.
Rain can throw them off if it rains a bunch. Or if it is raining, obviously they won't come out. So that will definitely throw them off. And if any of our future guests or listeners are interested and they want to come this way, I can point you guys in the right direction to go see some of them. There's a lot of resources out there, which is really cool.
And really, it will be the experience of a lifetime for sure.
Yeah, I agree. You see something so many times, you kind of become numb to it. If that makes sense?
Has that happened to you with this?
Not with this. You could go see a statue X amount of times and maybe you're kind of like, I've seen it.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't need to see it again. Or you do a certain hike a few times, maybe you don't need to see it again. But I don't think this is something that I'll ever get tired of seeing. I think this is an experience that is, every time it's a little unique.
Yeah.
And every time I think that I'm like, wow, this is the best it's ever going to be, I get like a day where there's more. Or there's a different one, or like a different area that I can go see them at that's unique in itself.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. This has been great, Alan. Is there anything else you want our listeners to know about Phausis reticulata?
Nicely done. Yeah, go look at some photos online. They're really neat. Go look at some of the videos. Even the biologist that we had reached out to has some cool YouTube videos out there about them and how special they are. They're something that should be cared for and protected, and coveted as a very special, unique thing.
Absolutely.
And hopefully they're around for a really, really long time. So go experience them, appreciate them, take care of them.
Yeah. Take care of them.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Alan.
Thanks, Rachel.
Bye, listeners. The Inspired Intentions podcast is a production of Skyterra Wellness Retreat. Special thanks to our executive producer, Alan Broyhill. Send us your questions and comments to inspiredintentions@skyterrawellness.com. Subscribe on iTunes and everywhere podcasts can be found. If someone you know might benefit from this podcast, share Inspired Intentions with them and give us a 5-star rating. Join us next week as we cut through the unrealistic noise on diets and fitness and show you how healthy living fits seamlessly into your already busy life. Thanks for listening.